A lot of you may feel that this has nothing to do with you, but I mean, Meryl Streep, if you've watched the movie, many of you may have been educated on how the fashion industry works. What she's trying to say in this scene is that nobody is exempt from the fashion industry. Every garment represents an entire ecosystem of people, communities, and jobs. And so every human being engages with the fashion industry in one way or another. In India, the largest number of low-skilled garment workers are women, which means that they are either cutting threads at the end of the production line or they are attaching buttons. The more advanced roles, the more advanced skills in the garment industry, such as pattern making or fabric cutting or design, are mostly roles held by men. And there is a reason for this. And the reason is that the system, the way that the knowledge is passed down from one generation to the next, from father to son to younger brother. There's a legacy, there's an oral tradition of how the knowledge is passed down, and it excludes the sisters and the daughters from every generation. No wonder that all MasterGs are men. I'm yet to come across female pattern makers in India. Stories of gender discrimination are far too common throughout the world. And I had a similar experience myself 5 years ago. And the experience left me feeling like any of us, no matter where we came from, could be exposed to the gendered inheritance of livelihood. So whether it was me who came from a family business context, or whether it was the women from the generational tailors' families, we could all be exposed to this. And this experience left me feeling so invisible and isolated that I ached to belong. And then I went to Parsons in New York, right here, and I studied design. And for the first time in my life, I was able to question. I was able to question society's expectations of me. I was able to question my life, my biases, my conditioning. And the process of design, from cloth to finished product, gave me a semblance of power. And I realized that barriers in your mind can sometimes feel stronger than physical barriers. Okay, let's take a skirt, a simple skirt. Forget what you know about skirts. Take it apart, put it back together with your own imagination. What is it now? It's still a skirt, but it's a totally different one. It's your version of a skirt. The process of unlearning through design can unlock potential in ways that one could never imagine in one's lifetime. And this experience gave birth to the realization that an affordable training in design can enable women to break patterns of poverty by giving them the tools to redesign their lives. And thus, MasterG was born. MasterG's training programs are run in Delhi and Haryana, and we train women in advanced skills of pattern making and fabric cutting. MasterG has a two-pronged curriculum. First is training women in the high-level skills to the best quality standards, and second, unlearning all of the conditioning that is holding them back. So women not only learn the skills that help them rise in the organizational hierarchy, but they're able to imagine themselves in positions of authority in the industry. One great example of a woman who has challenged the traditional paradigm of the male MasterG in India and is able to transcend all of these boundaries is Rajni. Rajni joined us when she was 20 years old, and she started training with us when she found a training center in her neighborhood. One of the best students that I have personally had. She works extremely hard and always wants to learn. Something tragic happened in Rajni's life 1 year into the training program. She lost her father. With 3 younger siblings and an ailing mother, she was forced to take on the responsibility of the family and become the primary breadwinner. Fortunately for Rajni, she had completed her training program by then and was able to earn 7 times of what she would have if she hadn't joined the program. She was able to stabilize her family's financial condition owing to the skills that she had now acquired. The MasterG studio hired her at that point. Growing up, Rajni remembers not having enough money to buy books. And for a student as passionate as her, and if you knew her, you would know how heartbreaking that was for Rajni. She never wants her younger siblings to feel like that again. So she works super hard, and she works with me every day, and I know she works super hard because she wants her younger siblings to have whatever they need to build their life on their own terms. Since MasterG was founded 3 years ago, we now manufacture for brands in India and outside. And now we design and produce our in-house collection called HiMat. HiMat is born out of my and my MasterG's craving for belonging. The designs are inspired by urban slum topography, in the way that urban slums sit next to wealthy gated communities and create an uneven texture of social fabric. They are connected physically, but societal structures keep them disconnected. The first question I ask the MasterG students when they first join the program is, what is your dream? And I cannot tell you how heartbreaking the silence is. The silence, the confusion, and shock. What is she asking us? What do you mean, like, dream? They thought they needed permission to dream. And you would think that it's an easy question, and if I was to insist and say, tell me your dream, that they would be able to answer it, but it's not. Their responses are always conditional. If they let us, we will do this. If they let us, we will do that. And so I insist over the months that they are with us that don't worry about the constraints, you respond and tell me what your dream is. And we get there. It takes a few months to unlearn what you have taken 20 years to learn, but we get there. And when the questioning has begun, we know that this is the moment that the success, the impact of the curriculum rings its deepest. Since we started MasterG 3 years ago, we have trained 418 women. Of these, 100% women feel that they now have access to a safe social space where they can express themselves, where they can question society's expectations of them without the fear of being penalized for it. Over 400 women said that they can now navigate the city by themselves without the supervision of male family members. 317 women said that they now have more respect and dignity in their homes and can participate in decision-making and negotiations. Imagine a world where women are free to live their lives, pursue a skill that they're good at, improve the lives of their families and children on their own terms. Sounds pretty fundamental, right? But it's not. The funny thing about a freedom like this is that it's a lot like breathing. When you have it, you don't think so much of it. But when it's taken away from you, you fight for it with all your being. I'd like to thank Acumen for the platform to share my story and the stories of the countless other women who are in this with me. Before I joined the fellowship program, I did not have the ability to articulate my story and amplify it for the benefit in the service of the women that I work with. And I thought my dreams were crazy until I met a bunch of fellows who are also crazy. And before I close, I just want to say that I started speaking to you today by asking you if you thought if the fashion industry had anything to do with you. I hope you see now that it does. You have a role to play in breaking long-established patterns. You can go home and start with a simple step. Turn your garments inside out, check the label. The brands that you buy from, do they support responsible manufacturing? And do they support female garment workers? A simple decision of where you buy your clothes can determine if millions of women will find freedom, meaning, and purpose in their lifetimes. Thank you.